And it's you know, you wish it was a role model. And you see some of it with Bush 41 and President Clinton. But you know, what's so frustrating is, why do people have to wait till they're 70 or 75 or 80 and no longer on the ballot to take on the risk of being civil to your political opponents? One more? Oh, come on, one more. Yes?
I just have a comment.
Yeah.
I want to thank you for the work that you've done, the work of people in this room to solidify President Ford's legacy. I was a student at Grand Valley when you were director here, and we did the museum. And I remember sitting in an international relations class and debating with the professor about that the Ford presidency truly was remarkable and worth learning from. And they thought I was naive.
I know a few of those kind of professors. Yeah.
And I was a young woman who was born and raised in this community and was born in 1976, and I always considered President Ford my president, and was fortunate. But thank you for the work that you've done and to continue to do these things. And I was fortunate to be a part of Ford funeral, just working the funeral and seeing the outpouring of the community.
You know, first of all, thank you. That's very, very generous of you. But what, I just, you know, before we wind up, I mean, very sincerely, what happened here in January, I'm sure will be remembered, obviously, for a very long time by everyone who took part, and I hope especially by those kids, thousands of kids, you know, who their parents and grandparents brought and waited for hours and hours outside this building, you know, that night. But the other thing is, I have to tell you, since then, because I can get around a bit, and Grand Rapids made an impression on the rest of America that week. People looked at this town, in some cases maybe discovered this town, and just as there was a whole generation who were introduced to Gerald Ford for the first time, and they liked what they saw, perhaps in part by contrast with everything since, but in any event, they liked what they saw. By the same token, people made the acquaintance of Grand Rapids, and they liked what they saw. And this town just absolutely, you know, he would have been so proud, because it simply confirmed everything he knew about Grand Rapids. And it's why at the end of my eulogy, I just about got through the comment that near the end of his life, he said that when he had trouble sleeping at night, he went back in memory to Grand Rapids. And I thought that was so revealing. And you only have to spend a little bit of time in this city to know why. Anyway, thank you very much.
Let me say this and give you this assurance, and I think I can speak for Gleaves Whitney and Ralph Hauenstein over at the Hauenstein Center, and I can speak for the museum and the foundation. Richard, this is home for you, and you are always welcome here, and we will have you back. Now, if you haven't had enough of Richard Norton Smith this week, Friday night on C-SPAN at 8 p.m. and repeated at 11, I believe, Richard, he will be co-hosting the continuing series on presidential libraries. And guess which one is Friday night? He will be co-hosting, it will actually be a live show, and the material that is going to be presented will be presented through the library, and hopefully Elaine Didier will feel better by that time, because she'll be one of the people on the other end. So, at 8 o'clock on C-SPAN, you can see more of Richard Norton Smith live. Thank you all very much. See you.